Welcome back. You're here with us live in the expo floor at AWS reInvent 2024. Thank you for joining us. My name is Fiona McCann. I am a solutions architect at AWS. I work with nonprofits, and I'm very excited to be here with my co-host, Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Hey, I'm Jasmine. This is my first segment today. I'm a manager of product management here at AWS, and I work all things partner. I'm excited to be at reInvent. It is buzzing.
It's buzzing.
Matt Garman's keynote today.
We did, and you know what? Matt Garman announced something this morning that I think we're going to get to chat about, aren't we?
Yes, we have some new improvements with Amazon Q, so I'm excited to hear about it.
I think it's time for us to introduce the team members that we have with us. So would you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Hi, everybody. My name is Manish Srinivasan. I work as a product management lead for Amazon Q Developer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ranjit Ramakrishnan. I'm a product manager for code review in Q Developer.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for being here with us today. Would you mind letting everyone know who's here watching us? Hey, everyone. What have we announced today, and why are you here?
Yeah, so as you guys saw, Garmin just announced, so we launched multiple capabilities within Amazon Q Developer, especially software agents, which is aimed to automate a lot of workflows for developers. And in particular, today we're going to talk about automated code reviews, which is to how do you enable developers to expedite their code review process, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Fantastic. So we've helped to automate this code review process. We're generating recommendations for ways to improve code. Can you tell us, what that experience is like for the developer?
Yeah, so Ranjit is going to go through the demo, but at a higher level, the traditional workflow is when developers actually write code and they have to submit the code to do code reviews. And the code review process is a manual process today. So the code author needs to submit the code, then the code reviewer is going to review the code and say, you need to fix these things. And it's a back and forth process between the code author and the code reviewer. What we are trying to do with Amazon Q Developer is to see if we can automate this process so that the code that's been submitted is already of higher quality, such that the code review process goes faster and it accelerates the productivity of developers.
Yeah, so does that mean that there's no human in the loop at all?
No. So humans will definitely be in the loop. So, so Amazon Q Developer is to aid developers. It's not a replacement for human developers, right? So at the end of the day, what we want to do is to assist developers to do code reviews faster. So which means that humans will be in the loop. They need to make sure that the reviews that are being generated, the fixes that are being generated or suggested by Q Developer, they have to actually manually accept it before they submit the code. So it's not a fully automated process. Humans will be in the loop.
Okay. I know we have a lot of developers in the audience, and Jasmine, I'm sure you relate to this as well. I've had lots of times where I've tried to submit code. It's been a little bit messy. I've had that back and forth lots of times with my reviewer. So that sounds pretty nice to me to have that kind of automated beforehand.
Oh, 100%. So we've spoken to a lot of customers and developers in particular, and this is one of the mainly asked features, and we are super thrilled to announce it here.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we want to make sure that by the time code gets submitted for reviewers, the review process goes much smoother. So that's why we are introducing this in the IDE, where developers are actually making their code change and not have to wait until you submit the code through a merge request.
So it kind of lessens the number of times that you have to go through that process. Okay, that makes sense. I think it would be pretty cool if we could see a demo of how this works. Would you mind jumping into that for us?
Sounds good. Let's do it. I hope you can see my screen. And so here I am in my IDE.
There we are.
There we are. Okay. I'm in Visual Studio. And I am going to demonstrate how we can do the review and get feedback and actually fix some of the issues that we find.
Awesome. So what is this? What are you building here?
So I have a simple application. This is a vote counting application.
Okay.
And there's already some code for submitting vote for your favorite restaurants.
Ah.
So, we, as a developer, I have been asked to generate a report of the votes. So I have added some new code into.
All right, so we're looking at favorite restaurants. We're voting. What's your favorite type of food?
I'm a vegan, so anything goes.
Anything.
I don't have too many choices, so anything goes.
If it's vegan, you like it. Chat, what are your favorite restaurants? Put that in. Let us know while we're going through
So
this.
speaking of chat, we do have some newer folks here. They're asking, overall, what is Q Developer? So bringing us back to the 100 level because we have some newer audience members here. And then they say, so you can't ask it to generate code from scratch. It helps you along when you're already writing. So give us that high level of Q Developer and let's see if we can answer that question.
Sure. Mani, go ahead.
Yeah. So Amazon Q Developer, especially the software development process, what Amazon Q Developer does is it does multiple things. One is as developers are writing code, it's going to generate the next lines of code for them. So it kind of predicts what the developer is trying to do and it generates the code. So it helps with that. If you already have existing code or if you have a question in the chat interface that Ranjit is talking about, you can ask any questions to Q and Q will be able to answer these questions, whether it is pertinent to answering any questions regarding deployment or whether it is pertinent to, how do you optimize this code. So all these things will be implicitly done within the Q Developer. So the goal of Amazon Q Developer is to bolster developer productivity, whether it comes to writing code faster. And with these capabilities, now we're going to go and shift right to the SDLC to make sure that other facets of code development is going to be automated as well.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so when we have someone asking, does Q Developer actually generate code? It does. That's just not what we're announcing today. So Q Developer can generate code, but what this specific announcement is about is for code review.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have Gifted Greedy in the chat asking, does it work with Terraform code too?
It will. So any kind of programming language that you have, whether it is a Terraform template, whether it is a CloudFormation template, whether it is Java, Python, you can actually use code review process to generate high quality code. And Ranjit is going to talk about that in the demo.
Perfect. Let's get back to the demo.
Let's do
Chat,
it.
keep us going.
All right, sounds good. As Mani was talking about, this is the interface here where you can chat with Q. I am going to chat with Q and say, give me code review. So I select /review.
All right.
And I have a couple of options. I can either review my workspace, which means all the files that I have in my project, or I can review a specific file. In this case, I've made changes in adding a new API. I've also been told by Mani to deploy this application into ECS Fargate.
Of course.
So I have added that also as infrastructure.
Okay.
So I'm going to review all of that and see what
it comes up with.
What comes up with. So at this point, as you can see here, this is an experience that we submit code. Code gets reviewed across a whole number of variety of aspects, from security, from a static standpoint, from a code quality standpoint, any code vulnerabilities that are there in the packages that you have taken dependencies on. Somebody asked about Terraform. We are looking at any infrastructure as code and reviewing if you have any security issues that you have in there. So we are reviewing all of that, all of those, and we'll get a list of issues back. This is a decent size repository, so that's why it's going to take a little bit of time to review this code. We should be able to see a list of all the findings here momentarily.
So while it's loading, I don't know if I missed this earlier, but is it able to handle a variety of different programming languages and frameworks?
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Mani.
Go ahead.
So currently we support 17 different languages, including all the most popular ones like Java, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, and infrastructure as code as CloudFormation, CDK, and Terraform. So here we are. It has reported a few issues, and we've organized these issues based on
severity, I see, yeah.
So you can see there are a few of these that have shown up, some of them in code quality, some of them on security. So let's pick a few of them. Let's see what these
let's see what
are.
it's saying.
So the experience is, as you select an issue, we highlight the code directly. We highlight that line in the code editor. And then on the right side, you see a detail of what this issue is. There's a bit of an explanation of what the exact issue is.
Looks like here we're exposing the server to the public.
Right.
Not best practice.
So you have links to what the exact issue is to see more documentation about it. and let's do the next thing as developer workflow. I
Let's
found
fix
this issue. Let's fix this.
Yeah,
So
this is the beauty here, right? So developers do not need to know how to actually fix the issue. Sometimes the issue might be simple to fix, sometimes it might be complex. So Q developer is going to go ahead and generate the code fixes automatically for you. And this is the beauty here, right? You not only get suggestions, but you also get code fixes. And Ranjit is going to continue, and let's see how this
So
goes.
when it generates that code fix, is it going to highlight sections of the code that are fixed
Yeah.
by? Oh,
yeah.
I'm
So-
getting ahead of
we're
you.
back.
Sorry.
Thank you for setting that up for me. so this was the issue. Said it was opening the host is 000. So we need to restrict the port. So the fix that it generated changed it to 127.0.0.1. So I see this. I like this fix that it has suggested. So I'm going to
You get to accept it.
accept the fix. Now, if I see the code, it has updated with the code fix I just had.
All right, so that's where Jasmine was asking if there's still a human in the loop. Nothing's being changed without your permission as
Nope.
the developer.
Yeah.
You get to look at it and decide whether or not you want to accept.
Right, because at the end of the day, you as a developer have more context and understanding of your code base.
Right.
Right, we are looking at this and we're trying to suggest a good solution, but you get to decide if this is the right solution for you and accept that fix.
Yeah. And I really like what I'm seeing over here on the left-hand side where it's ranking the issues by high, medium, low. And luckily, you have no critical ones here, right? But I really like that. And plus the coloring, and then you can see and decide, what do I need to prioritize?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like the chat is also liking this. We have a comment from Robert Tables. He's saying this looks very slick.
Awesome. Good to hear that.
So I know that one thing you've highlighted is that this can help to improve the quality of code before it goes for review.
Right.
How else do you see this, transforming the experience of a developer?
Transforming the experience, as in the back and forth process is going to be completely eliminated, right? So what we are trying to do is to accelerate the SDLC cycle to make sure that the code that you're going to push to production is of higher quality, which we already spoke. But it's also about the acceleration that we actually go through. So based on some of the internal tests that we've done, on an average, a code review process takes like a couple of days typically, even for a
Wow,
small
okay.
request. So it's usually a lot of back and forth, and we are going to try to eliminate this or to contain this as much as we can, so that it speeds up the development velocity, and which is exactly what developers and customers want at the end of the day.
And I think there are two parts to the review process, right? One is really finding the easy things and knocking that out even before it gets to
Right.
the reviewer. And then second aspect of it is the other end of the spectrum, where can we actually find some hard problems and fix it, which might be harder for reviewers to easily figure out.
Right.
Right.
So
And speaking of this, we have a question from chat. They are super engaged with you today.
Awesome.
Gifted Greedy says, who defines what is high or medium?
It's a good question. So our model internally actually tries to go through a bunch of rules that we've actually set up, bunch of and this is basically determined by the model here. So the Q developer has got the knobs, the bells and whistles to understand what it is, and then you have and it automatically puts the severity based on what you're seeing. But in the future, we are also going to allow developers to have more controls as well, so they can actually define custom rules that they want. They can say, okay, which of these rules are severe or not, and some of the capabilities here, like if you find you can actually click on it. You can say like hide some of these issues as well. But today it's generated by the system. In the future, customers will have more controls in terms of what they can actually see.
Yeah.
I see. So over there on the left, you're saying that as we're looking through those high severity issues, you can choose which ones you want to show up there and which ones you want to
Ignore.
Ignore. Yeah.
makes
So you
sense.
can ignore a specific issue, or you can ignore issues similar to that. Right?
Okay.
So, but this is at the idea, as Mani said, there are teams that want to have centralized standards for what issues are important.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we are working towards.
Yeah, and Robert Tables in the chat notes that if you're a consultant working on a lot of other people's code bases, this would be really helpful to get you productive more quickly.
Right. I think at the end of the day, to have some set of quality standards, I think, as you were saying before, to push the code out, I think that's the process that we are really trying to improve here. So,
Absolutely. So I think we were pulling you away from the demo there. Do you have something else you wanted to show us?
We have plenty to show.
yeah, so the other one I wanted to highlight is we talked about code quality.
Right.
The other aspect of this is security.
Okay.
What can we do to improve the security of the code? And here is an example where we can identify package level vulnerabilities even before you commit the code for central
Okay.
review, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, I have a dependency on Flask. and there is a package vulnerability that we have identified. Here is the link to the common weakness enumeration,
All
so you
right.
can see what the exact issue here is. And
It looks like it's maybe sending one client session cookie to another client.
so, we found that this version of the package actually fixed that vulnerability.
Okay.
So that actually came as a suggested code fix.
There you go.
So I'm just going to
Easy
accept
enough.
it. Easy peasy.
I'll accept that.
Right. So we talked about code quality. We talked about security vulnerability from a package dependency standpoint.
Right.
The last one I want to talk about is we also introduced something called a deployment risk, which Matt talked about during his keynote today. So here is an example where we are looking at what you have as your deployment infrastructure, and we identified that you have a CloudWatch alarm that you have defined, but you don't have any action associated with the CloudWatch alarm.
Okay.
So here is a scenario where you're going to deploy some change to the infrastructure, but you potentially have no visibility into from an observability standpoint.
Right, okay.
So we have flagged that as a high severity deployment risk.
Because it seems to be something that you want to be aware of. You've set this alarm, but there
Right.
just aren't any actions.
Exactly.
So this is another type of issue that we are finding, so that
Okay.
even before you actually get your change into a deployment environment, we can flag them and help you improve your deployment process.
That's awesome.
So similarly, we have an explanation for what the issue here is, and I have a fix that I can generate. So hopefully this gave you an idea of the different sets of issues that we can flag even before you commit your code,
Right.
and give you an understanding the quality of your commit as you go through the process.
Definitely. So I love seeing these high severity issues. Just out of curiosity, what would be an issue that's in that low severity?
Yes. Oh, when
You
you're
can
going
say, yeah, let's expand the low and just show them what we have.
Yeah, so a very good example of this would be readability
Okay.
issues, right? So you've organized your code you've not organized your code well. How can we improve the readability of it?
The class names that might be like it's not very readily you can see them, or like variable names that are like A, B, like people don't understand what they are. So it's going to basically go ahead and show some of these as code quality or code hygiene kind of things.
Yeah, so
Okay, got it.
naming, anything around readability, those are the kinds of things that we are flagging.
Standardizing those conventions. That makes sense. So we do have someone who's commenting in the chat here. It looks like Mr. Bob 5555 just joined a few minutes ago. And he says he apologizes if this was already mentioned, but what languages are supported initially? I know you said there were 17. Would you mind telling Mr. Bob a few of those 17?
Yeah, it's actually there in our documentation, so you can go to our
Perfect.
documentation page and check it. So Java, JavaScript, Python, TypeScript, CDKs, CloudFormation, like the list goes on, Terraform.
Yeah.
So it's all there in our documentation page. You can review it and
Awesome. And speaking of documentation, we already had Ingenious Sam, who's a first-time chatter, say, are these Amazon Q developer updates added to the documentation already? So it sounds like it is. And
It is.
That's where we want you to go and read more about it.
Yeah, we want you to try this. We want you to give us feedback. I think we are excited about releasing this feature. Please all try this, and we hope you're going to see the productivity improve in the process.
What are you looking forward to coming up? So one final message to our viewers. What should they be keeping an eye out for in the future of your service?
we are just getting started here, right? So we have lots and lots of capabilities that we are planning to do. So things pertinent to deployment, you're going to see a lot more bells and whistles around deployment. You're going to see a lot more around, how do you do centralized governance and controls that I touched upon earlier, where
Right.
as administrators, you can say what policies you need, what are the policies that are critical by severity. So we're just getting started here and getting warmed up. So we have a lot of things in our roadmap. Stay tuned.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I think just generally the overall workflow of fixing issues, and how do we make that a lot smoother for developers and really be that assistive agent. I think that's another area we're definitely going to
Yeah,
improve on.
I love the efficiency. Thanks for coming on the show and telling us all about the things that you've launched. Congratulations on your launch, and keep helping us be more productive and make Amazon Q developer. It's been really exciting to see.
Thank you both so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you
And
for having
everyone
us.
who's watching us, stick around. We're going to head over to monitoring Aurora with CloudWatch Database Insights. So stick around, then we'll be back live again, and we'll see you very soon.
And take the survey.